Each month, I try to relate my bullet journal theme to what's going on in the world, whether it's the season we're in or based on a big event happening in my life. So for July, I chose plants. And you might be confused on how that relates to what's going on right now currently, but it really does match up with what's going on in our world today. Because just like plants are growing, so are a lot of people in the world, and more specifically in the United States. The current events have opened the eyes of a lot of people and exposed them to the raw truth. And I see this as an improvement and a step forward for humanity as a whole. When people are able to acknowledge when they've been wrong and work to understand different perspectives, it's proof that they are changing, and change is necessary for growth. On this first page, I decided to draw a greenhouse because there's so many different plants and so many different types of plants, and they represent new life and growth, and the light bulb represents bringing warmth and new ideas to this space, and I think it's very representative of what's happening in our world right now. And it was a lot to draw and a lot to color, and it took a really long time, but I think it was worth it, and I really do like how it turned out. I wanted the plants to have a sketchy style, so I outlined a few of them. Honestly, I couldn't tell you what type of plants are in this greenhouse because I just made up different types of leaves. But that's okay because it makes the drawing that much more creative and authentic. I used a lot of different pens and markers to design this greenhouse. I primarily used Pigma Microns to draw the pots, but I used a wide variety of different green supplies for the plants themselves, including Crayola Supertips, Tombow Brush Pens, Staedtler markers, and Papermate Flair Pens. I also used my Tombow Fudenosuke Brush Pen for the outline of the greenhouse and the quote at the bottom of the page, which reads, "Change is inevitable, growth is optional." This next page is my monthly calendar. When I started making it, I didn't realize that I left out a day, but I come back to fix it later. Using a ruler and a 0.3 size Pigma Micron, I created this sideways calendar that I've grown accustomed to over time. Earlier in the month, I wrote out my name in big box letters and filled it in with floral doodles when I was bored one day. But I really liked how it came out, and I decided to mimic it in this spread to break up some of the green. At the bottom of the page, I drew planters. Every year, my family plants a garden, and it's fun to watch a little seed grow into something beautiful and delicious. It's truly amazing to watch life form and produce something for all to enjoy. I used the same green markers for these plants as I did for the greenhouse, except for a yellow Crayola Supertip and a yellow Tombow Dual Tip Brush Marker for some color variation. For the boxes, I used 2 brown Tombows and a silver Uniball Signo Broad Tip Gel Pen. To fit this gardening-inspired spread, I used the quote, "To plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow." Next up are my monthly trackers, which I always include every month in my bullet journal spreads. They include books, TV, movies, and music. Comment down below any Black authors you enjoy reading from and any TV shows or movies about the Black Lives Matters movement or about African American life. I will list some of my favorites in the description box, but I would love to have more to learn from and more people to support. This next quote says, "Watching something grow is good for morale. It helps us believe in life," by Myron S. Kaufman. I like including quotes throughout my bullet journal because I find them encouraging, and they also elevate each spread by filling in empty spaces. At the bottom of this page, I included a little doodle of 3 different plants and pots sitting on top of a shelf. Throughout this month's setup, I tried to switch up the type of pots I drew. This was a simple way to add a little variety to my spreads. Changing up the sizes, designs, and color added just a little bit more detailing. I used this beige Ecoline brush marker for a light shaded shelf. Since the marker is water-based, you can go over it multiple times to get different effects. Because of how successful my A Sentence a Day spread was last month, I decided to do it again this month, and I really enjoyed being able to sit down at the end of each day and think about what I wanted to wrap up about the day, and I ended up turning it into a little bit more of like a grateful journal. So I wrote down something that I was grateful for or thankful for each day, and it really helped me reflect on the day and everything that I have to be grateful for. I have made mood trackers in the past, but I never really kept up with them. However, in this day and age where everyone is cooped up in their houses, I found it really important to track my mental health, and one of the biggest signifiers is your mood. So hopefully, when I color in the plants each day, I'll be using the lighter shades of green and not the dark ones. I thought sketching out all 31 plants took a long time, but the line art and coloring took forever as well. I used Pigma Microns to outline each pot. I only colored in the pot so that the green can be filled in every day. The quote at the bottom of the page says, "We don't grow when things are easy." To keep it simple, I kept using the same green markers throughout my entire July setup, and that's no different for what I used for my mood tracker. This next page is another experiment for me. I made multiple different boxes to hold different types of information that I normally don't have a place to keep track of. In the top right corner, I made a monthly goals section. This will include everything from how many books I want to read to milestones for social media and YouTube. I had to include another quote, and this one reads, "Allow yourself to grow and change. Your future self is waiting." Under that is another box labeled Big Events, where I will take note of all the important things that happen in the month of July. Next to that is a section where I can write down anything I'll need to jot down for the next month. The last section is titled Memories, and I want to take note of positive things that happen throughout the month. For a while, I have been trying to incorporate a more scrapbook-inspired style in my bullet journal because I have tons of stickers and different types of washi tapes that are just sitting idle in my desk. So I decided to use them on this spread, but still add a few doodles so it wasn't too different from my normal style. My last spread is my weekly layout. I have really enjoyed this setup and it gives me enough space for my daily tasks and habit trackers. I drew another plant shelf because I really liked the one I drew on my trackers page. This time I made a terrarium and an overflowing pot. The quote says, "So what's next? You heal, you grow, and you help others." I hope you enjoyed this video and that it will give you some inspiration for your own bullet journal setup this month. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to get notifications of when I upload next. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!